Unfortunately, you can't pick which zombie you play as. You get chosen as whatever one they assign you. But it makes sense, though, that you upgrade to each level, and eventually you get to play as a tank. This can get a little bit tricky. You have to spawn far away from the human players as possible, and you have to sneak up on them. Because obviously, you saw how easy it is to kill some of these zombies. Yeah, of course you're gonna die faster if they shoot you, so you gotta get at a good specific angle and time it right. But it's really cool once you get the hang of it. Damn, Constrictor, yeah, it's cool. So that's Left 4 Dead 1 right there for you. Nothing much to say. Pretty damn cool. Not bad. I mean, that's what you call a zombie game. I mean, it explores new, different aspects of the game, but it's all just zombies right there. Nothing more to say. A wee shotgun up, baby. Rockin' up. So, of course, with the success of this game came the sequel, Left 4 Dead 2. Yeah. Your immediate reaction, I'm sure, to this game is that it seems to be identical to the first one. But no, of course they made a lot of changes. I mean, otherwise, why would they make a sequel if nothing changed? I mean, isn't that the whole point of a sequel? Yep, they changed a few things. In fact, they improved on a lot of things. For starters, there's different characters, but it follows the same character formula. 3 male characters and 1 female character. Not exactly sure why they follow that same format. Anyway. So obviously, judging by the menu screen, yeah, there's a lot more additions to the game. But as for the single player, not much has really changed. The graphics are kind of the same. Yeah, the levels are different. Yeah, as I said, the characters are different. But for starters, the one thing I like is that there's actually melee weapons. Sweet. A huge selection, in fact. Axes, baseball bats, chainsaws. Yeah. Now we're playing a zombie game. I mean, you got so much to choose from, and even some weird ones too. A frying pan? Well, I guess you can't throw these things from the train. Nah, just kidding. And a guitar. Yeah, because you're in a rock concert, supposedly. I have no comments there. For one thing, besides the melee weapons, yeah, some of the stages are not always in the dark. There's some that are actually in the daytime. And did I say the graphics and levels are very similar to the first game? No, I take it back actually. As you play through more of these levels, you start noticing a lot more graphical updates, as you can see right here. You got floodwaters, hard rain, dark abandoned malls, and carnivals in the dark, which, okay, if this doesn't remind you of Zombieland, then you're absolutely out of your mind. Yeah, a lot of this creates that eerie glow and atmosphere that makes you feel like, wow, this is what you call a real horror fest game. And with the mixture of the atmosphere with the zombies, I mean, you can't go wrong. What a way to step this game series up a notch. And yes, they did bring back all the zombies, plus more. You got the Chargers, which seem to be identical to the tanks. Only one thing is their right arm looks bigger than the other, and yeah, they can really ram you like a freaking football player almost. Then you got the Jockey, which seems to do the identical type of attack as the Hunter, but instead he stays on your shoulders and seems like he's trying to move you into danger and get surrounded by a whole herd of zombies. I don't blame him. Of course it brought back the first aid kits and the health pills, but it also brought some new additions. Revival zappers. Yeah, I guess you need those to revive instead of reviving without a first aid kit or whatever you use. And an adrenaline shot. I guess that gets you up and going. And yes, they brought back the pipe bombs and the Molotovs, but they even brought zombie puke. You throw it on the ground and apparently it attracts zombies. As I said before, they love their zombie puke. And of course, there's a larger selection of secondary weapons. Can't beat that. So, with the updates established, it's safe to say, yeah, the levels are similar, but not exactly the same. Though they do share a similar layout, but not every campaign ends in the 5th level. And not every one ends with a rescue mission. Some of them you have to gather gas cans and fill up a device in need of a certain amount of gas. Like a display card that you can just drive right out of the mall for a cutscene. and a lift that can help lower the bridge, so yeah, you can drive out of there as well. Yeah, it definitely explores some new ideas rather than just stick to the same idea over and over again. That's cool. And once again, even though I feel there should be, there's no map screen. Not going to really get too crazy because, well, same problem as the first game. I get lost too easily sometimes. And once again, yes, there's friendly fire. I guess they can't let that go when it comes to this series. So that's a single player right there. Not much to say, pretty enjoyable, but once again, just like the first game, it can lose its flavor after a while. Of course, you want to know about the online, right? Well, here we go. Where to begin? Yeah, of course, it's brought back the campaign, which is basically the single player, but with actual human players. And the versus mode, where you play as either the humans or the infected, same levels, not much different. And now you got the realism modes. I didn't really know what these were at first, until I actually played them and started noticing, yeah, when you play single player or regular campaign or versus, apparently you can actually see the players within the walls. And it gives a description of their status and where they are exactly. But in this, yeah, of course, the word realism, it doesn't lie. You can't see them through the wall. And another thing that's really different is, it's supposedly a lot more difficult. So yeah, you got the realism campaign and the realism versus mode. Which in this one, apparently the zombies can actually see through the walls, while the humans are the sitting ducks. Then you got mutation, no idea what it is. It says it's a party mode, and it looks like the campaign mode. I don't know, I give up. Then you got the survival mode, which is, you guessed it, you only play as the humans, try to survive as long as you can, and try to beat out the time record. You can of course revive people, but it doesn't matter. These flesh-eating suckers are going to gang up on you a lot faster than the regular campaign mode. And once you're all down, that's it, game over. It's all about survival. The title, once again, doesn't lie. Then you got Scavenger mode, which seems to be very identical to the Versus mode, only with this one, it's more of a round-based type of game. So overall, yes, the game is definitely what you call a superior sequel to the first one. Not that I don't like the first one, I just feel this game does, well, some improvements that are much needed. Yeah, the graphics are once again awesome. The music, incredibly terrifying and awesome. So what can I say? Go for it. It's well deserving of a wee shotgun up. A rockin' one up for sure. So, on to the next game. What's it gonna be? Let's take a look. Zombieland, the video game on PlayStation 2. Psych! Resident Evil 4 on PlayStation 2. Ah, yes. This is what you call the bread and butter of zombie games. Because when it comes to zombie games, this game is bound to pop up into anybody's mind. I mean, this was one of the biggest video game franchises of all times when it comes to this genre. It was so popular, it even got a movie franchise. But I think the video games is what really matters. Not that I really didn't like the movies, but they were okay. The games is where they're all at. And number 4 seems to be the best of this series. I obviously don't have the first 3. And I'm sorry for any people who are going to be nitpicking me and saying, do the first 3, but there's only so much I can do. This is often regarded as being the absolute best. Yes, I'm well aware there's also a GameCube version, which I heard is superior. And yes, I know it's also available as downloadable content on Xbox Live. But yes, I do think it's one of the most overhyped video games of all time. But please don't bitch at me, keep your wisecracks to yourself. I'm only saying this because there's a few things I have to nitpick, and I wonder why this game is so perfect. First of all, I'm not entirely crazy about the camera angling. It's weird and awkward and a bit tight, and it definitely takes a lot of getting used to. That is if you play this game a lot. For me, I'm obviously a die-hard GTA fan, and my instincts towards basic third-person controls are, well, not like this. so it took me a while to really adjust to it, as well as the weapon use controls. Those are the only few things I have to nitpick. Other than that, yeah, it's definitely an incredibly, fantastically awesome game. The plot goes like this. It's a sort of an I Am Legend type plot, and with these games, it's all about the backstories. Unlike Left 4 Dead, where it puts all its focus around the zombies, or Red Dead Redemption expansion, where it's obviously a very simple plot. This game has a well put together plot, and it's not very easy to understand, and it's definitely full of a lot of surprises as you go along in the game. With this one, it's all about a pharmaceutical company called Umbrella that tries to create some kind of a virus antidote, but unfortunately it fails and it backfires among civilizations and it causes a virus outbreak amongst Raccoon City. The president is ordered to nuke that city, but unfortunately it doesn't do much. Defeating the virus is completely futile. The only thing that remains 6 years later is that his daughter is kidnapped and held hostage somewhere in the woods of Europe. Your character is named Leon, and he's sent with a couple of federal agents to go find her. But along the way you go inside this cabin in the woods, and then eventually your federal agents ditch you, and well, you're on your own. It's all about your fight for survival. You come across these, well, look like zombies, but apparently they're these ravaged, disease-type people that just want to kill you. I mean, all it is just a fight for survival. They're not zombies. It says right here, they're not zombies. Of course, they're these farmers, and they carry all sorts of pitchforks and axes and even chainsaws. Wow. Now they need business. What's great about it is they're more human-like. At least you have a handgun you can use against them, but eventually you're going to run out of ammo. And that's when your sword comes in handy. And it really kind of sucks, though, that this is the only primary weapon that you get. There is a laser targeting on this gun, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to work from a far distance. But you have to get it a far distance in order to take these suckers down. It's very easy to die. All it takes is to get close and surrounded by a bunch of these shitheads, and eventually you're down for the count. Again, this is one of the greatest games that the PlayStation 2 has to offer, but I have to mention, it's also one of the hardest. The Resident Evil games are some of the hardest zombie games I've ever played. It definitely puts your love for zombie games to the test. It asks, are you game? Are you hardcore enough? Well, here's your main test right here. It's time to either nut up or shut up. And yes, you have a health meter. To restore that health meter, you get either herbs, first aid spray, and you're probably wondering, is this the only weapon you get? No. Further on into the game, you get a wide variety of weapons. And you buy it from, I have to admit, the strangest looking weapon salesman I've ever seen. I mean, even his voice sounds strange too. But yes, you can buy anything, shotguns, rifles, handguns, and even upgrade them as well as grenades, first aid spray, anything. But you gotta be willing to pay the price, and some of these weapons can get very pricey. So make sure you collect as much gold and valuable products as possible. Or better yet, just sell your useless weapons and material, because let me tell you, you're going to need to. If you plan on advancing further on into the game, you're going to need more money to buy more advanced weaponry. And, once again, I feel as if there should be a map screen, without having to pause the game. Yeah, compared to Left 4 Dead, it's a step in the right direction, but still not quite there yet. I mean, shouldn't it be here without having to pause the game? I mean, I wouldn't mind this so much, but I feel as if I have to keep constantly pausing the game just to make sure I'm going in the right direction, considering it's a non-linear type of game. But at least the weapon selection is in the pause screen, which helps, because, yeah, you're going to need to pause the game if, say, if you're in a tight situation surrounded by these freaking zombies. I mean, you're going to need to switch a weapon eventually if one runs out of ammo. So, that helps. Kind of reminds me of Legend of Zelda, sort of. And in fact, some of the gameplay in this is more than a zombie game. At some points, it's sort of like a Legend of Zelda type game. Operating different contraptions and booby traps and having to navigate through levels. It's got that non-linear style gameplay where you have to figure out where to go and find different keys to unlock different doors and passageways and such. Boss fights? Yeah, there's actually boss fights. Some of them are kick-ass, but very difficult. That is, if you don't know how to use the right strategy in order to beat them, because some of them take a little bit of problem solving to figure out.
Get over here!